Joining me right now, prior to calling Bucs and Saints on Westwood One, is once again worthy of congratulations because he's a Pro Football Hall of Fame finalist again because of his stellar work with the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are in the news. He's also a Jaguars voice. He is our friend Tony Boselli. How are you, Tony?
Rich, I'm outstanding. How are you doing? Happy New Year.
Same to you, bud. Same to you. So let's get right to it. People going crazy in Duval County right now. I mean, Urban's in the fold, Tony. It actually happened. What do you think?
Yeah, like Christmas. Yeah, Christmas came like 3 weeks late for the Jaguar fans. I mean, I think, this is you guys know this is an organization over the last decade that has been, not very good outside of 2017. And, Shad Khan's gone through a couple head coaches and GM and everything else, and they've never gotten it right and haven't had the consistency that obviously anyone's looking for. And it's not like he has not invested and tried to figure it out. And I think he said, "Hey, I'm gonna make a splash. I'm gonna go big, and I'm gonna swing for the fences and get a guy that is a proven winner." And although he has not done it in the pros, and we know the history of college coaches going to the pros, but I think it's a good bet. I mean, you guys know his resume, and everywhere Urban Meyer's been, he's won. So there's a lot of excitement right now, and you couple that with having the first overall pick and assuming it's going to be Trevor Lawrence, Jags fans have a lot to look forward to.
So, Tony, what are your concerns about what you just mentioned? Because obviously there have been college coaches that succeed in the pros. Last year alone, even though they did not come close to making the playoffs, I think everyone could say that Matt Rule does have a handle on what it's like to be an NFL head coach. But Pete Carroll, as we all know, might wind up in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, even though he was a professional football coach before he was a college coach. Urban's never really had much time in the pros at all. What are your concerns on that front?
Yeah. Well, I think that's the big difference, Rich, is, we've seen guys who started in the NFL, went to college, and then came back, and they've had that success. I think what you're looking at is guys who've never been in the NFL, and all of a sudden, they come up to, the next level, the next stage. And so there's always that concern. But if we're honest with each other, aren't you concerned about every new head coach that comes into the NFL? I mean, there's no guarantees. I mean, that's why we see the turnover every year of coaches, and this year was 7 coaches losing their jobs. So I think you have to, just make the best, I don't want to say educated guess, but you have to look at all the different factors that go into it and try to find the right fit. And I think, when it comes to Urban Meyer, it's about his resume and everything else we talked about. And when you look at concerns, you would say, how does a college coach who has been able to recruit and get anyone he wants and dealing with younger men, 18 to 22, how does he now transition to, guys who are in their 30s, have families? I mean, it's a job. But Urban, he's a natural leader. I think he's been doing a lot of research, talking to a lot of people over the last year or so to learn about the NFL. And I think he'll be prepared because he's also not the typical coach who comes up and is a defensive expert or an offensive expert, and that's why you're hiring him. You hire Urban Meyer because you're looking for the best leader, and that's what he's done in college, and I think that's what he'll bring to the Jaguars. And the big risk, I believe, 2 big risks.
Yes, sir.
One is, what does the staff look like? He's got to get that right. The right offense coordinator and defense coordinator, because he's not a play caller. And so first and foremost, let's see who he hires there. And then secondly, who is he paired with as a GM? The press conference today they had, Shad Khan, the owner, and him said that they're talking about it, expecting announcements next week or so who that individual is. Obviously, Urban will have a lot of say in it, but you got to get the right GM next to him because your player procurement is critical, as everyone knows in the NFL.
So, look, I know he's, and we're going to play this soundbite later on. Tony Boselli here on the Rich Eisen Show. We're going to play the soundbite later on. I mean, Urban has already made it seem like it's an open question who's first overall. I mean, please. There's a river and it should be cried to me. I mean, like, it's definitely going to be Trevor Lawrence here. And the question is how do you think his game translates to the next level? And it's going to be fantastic. How does he work in? Like, what sort of system do you think needs to be run and the offensive coordinator married to him? What do you think on that front, Tony Boselli?
Well, first thing is, I can't imagine it not being Trevor Lawrence. To your point. I think that's pretty much, I think we're all aligned there. And I think learn from the mistake the Colts made. They got Andrew Luck, amazing talent, and they didn't build properly around him. And I'm talking about the offensive line. And so first and foremost, you want to build the right system around him, starting with the guys up front to make sure he's protected. And then as far as schemes and what kind of, you want to try to adopt some of the concepts and stuff he had success at Clemson. He's a great athlete. He can run the ball, but he's also a pure drop back quarterback. We've seen him operate from the quarterback. So I think the reason he is so highly rated is because when you look at him on film, you're like, he can do it all. This isn't just a guy who has to run zone read and work, out play action and move in the pocket and using his legs. He can do that. But I think he's an effective pocket quarterback as well. Now, he's have to develop and learn and identify defenses and all the progression that every quarterback goes through as they come in the NFL. But when you watch him on tape, there's not a lot of holes in his game. And I think as an offensive coordinator, it gets you pretty dang excited where you want to keep it as, not simple, but basic as you build it up. But I think everything is in front of him, and I think you can throw. I imagine you're gonna be able to throw a lot of different information and schemes and everything at the kid.
Tony Boselli here on the Rich Eisen Show. I can hear you moving around. I don't know if Are you driving to the airport to go to New Orleans in the Bucs right now?
No, not yet. I got in my car. I'm sitting down now. The older I get, it's like doing two things at once, Rich. I just don't have the same skill set I once did. But no, getting ready to head somewhere. So I'm sitting down now.
Okay. Focused. All good. So what a game this is. Tony, Tony, we hype stuff. That's what we do for a living in the paparazzi and the NFL. But truly, you can make this. This is maybe one of the most remarkable playoff games in matchups we will ever see, that we've ever seen and we will ever see, because of who's quarterbacking and then the circumstances that we've already seen between these two and Brady and Breeze, and obviously where they both rank on the all-time list. And now they're playing in a first playoff game against each other, and it could be the last game of Drew Brees' career or the last run of Drew Brees' career, with Brady hoping to get where he wants to go in his first season outside of New England. The stakes, the storylines could not be any bigger. How do you think this plays out, Tony Boselli?
Well, Rich, you said it perfectly, because every playoff game's huge, and this is bigger than them all this weekend. And when I found out from Howard Denneroff at Westwood One that I got to go do this game, I was pumped, because all the storylines are there. The history of the game, great quarterbacks, future Hall of Famers, what happens next. Drew Brees this could be it. This could be his last game if they don't win. So it's fabulous. The Saints obviously swept the series. They dominated the Buccaneers in that last matchup, 38-3. It wasn't even close. In watching and thinking about that game, what do the Bucs have to do different? They're a better team now. They've improved throughout the year, the timing and everything. Brady looked outstanding in that game against the Washington football team. So you expect, a high level, his best. But I really think it comes down to, can the Buccaneers establish some sort of run game? Think back to that big blowout loss. They abandoned it. Byron Leftwich did not call the run. He tried to spread out the Saints. He tried to drop back and put it all on Brady. And Brady's great. But in that game, they couldn't hold up against the rush. The Saints have a really good front four. They got after Brady, pressured him over 35% of the dropbacks, and they had no chance. So I think Leonard Fournette, Ronald Jones is back. He was questionable in practice yesterday. But if they can get – I'm not talking about rushing for 150 yards or anything. Obviously, it's still going to be Brady and those great weapons he has at the tight end and wide receiver position. But if they can at least slow down and have close to a balanced attack – I don't think they can beat the Saints. The Saints are just too good defensively. But if they can get a little bit of that play action pass, open up the middle of the field, get the Saints out of that too high safety look that they like to run and play two-man, force them to come and stop the run, then I think Brady and that offense can be effective, and I think we could have a different outcome of the game.
Well, we know what the low watermark is in terms of what you got to beat in order to have a better run game balance is 8 yards, which is the total number of yards they had on the ground against the Saints in that Sunday nighter. And we had Fournette on the show earlier this week, and he said they embarrassed us. And that's in the back of their minds. Where do you stand on the evaluation of this offense playing as well as it has all year long? They've been going to cook with gas. Is it because they did play against Atlanta twice and the Lions, and they got enough sea legs under them to beat a much more stout Washington football team, or this is going to be the test that they might not pass against the Saints? What do you think here, Tony?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an evolution, Rich. If you look at this, I mean, they took a lot of pieces. Brady, who's been in one system his whole career. You get Gronk, throw him in there, year off. You throw in Antonio Brown. I mean, you got a lot of different things, and you're trying to figure out who you are and what is your identity. And remember, no off season, limited camp. I mean, just COVID and everything that's gone into it. And I think it's taken time for them to get in a rhythm, get comfortable, for Brady and Leftwich and Arians all get on the same page of what they want to do. And I think the stretch down the run for them was critical, of just from confidence and timing. And it's amazing. You say, wait a second, confidence. Tom Brady, does he need confidence? Gronkowski, Mike Evans, these are great players. Not in their individual ability, they didn't need confidence, but confidence of how they all work together, and the timing, and knowing where guys are going to be and what Brady wants, and Brady reading the body language of his receivers and where they want the ball. That all takes time and it takes reps. And I think you saw them get better and better as the season went on. And I do think this is a different game. I'm not saying the Buccaneers are going to win. I think the Saints are fabulous on defense. They are so good. They've done a great job. Alvin Kamara is the difference maker. How do they match up against him? Not just stopping the run, but out of the backfield. He's such an effective receiver. And so, but I do think we're going to see a very close game. I think it's going to be back and forth, because I do expect the Buccaneers offense to be light years ahead of where they were when they lost 38-3. And I think they learned from it. I think Byron Leftwich, the play caller, understands that, hey, I have to establish the run. I got to at least have the threat of running against that Saints defense to force them to put an extra guy in the box and to open some things up outside.
Tony Boselli, bless you, sir. Congrats again on another Hall of Fame finalist year, and may this be the year you get what you deserve, which is enshrinement. You know how I feel about it, Tony.
Rich, I appreciate it, and I'm disappointed I won't see you guys down at the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, this COVID is going to limit all of our how we can move around down there and what we can do. But wish you guys the best.
You too.
Always love being on the show, and hopefully next time I'm with you guys, you can introduce me with a little bit of a different title, because hopefully the Hall of Fame goes my way this year.
Come on, Tony.
Let's go. Here we go. Yeah. LFG, as the Patriots would say. Thank you for the call, Tony. You take care.
See you, Rich.
You got it. That's Tony Boselli. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.